So some of the child-free assumptions that I've heard are either they've been told to me directly, or there are like on videos, like if someone is talking about being child-free, you'll get comments relating to that. So the first one that I've heard was not told to me, but I've heard it, is child-free women are lesbians. I'm like, what? Like, just because you choose to be child-free, it makes you a lesbian? Like, those are two totally different things. Like, this is homosexuality and this is being child-free. How are those two even related? And to be honest, for someone to say that you're a lesbian just because you're child-free, it simply means that they don't understand how homosexuality works, because two lesbians can have a child. There's no stopping them from being mothers. So being child-free and being a lesbian or being homosexual has nothing to do with the other. The second assumption is that child-free women hate children. I don't know how I can say this for people to actually believe or understand, but honestly, the fact that I don't want children doesn't mean that I hate them. Those two are not related in any way. I love my nephews, I love my nieces. The only thing is I don't want to take responsibility of them. So no, being child-free does not mean that you hate children. I do acknowledge that there's some people who just do not like children at all, and so they've made the choice not to have them. But that does not mean that I hate children simply because I don't want to have any through my vagina. The third assumption is that child-free people love their freedom. Yes, and so? Like, so many people are like, hautaki kupata watoto juu napenda raha. Sawa. It's okay, I agree, I love my freedom. What's so wrong with that? What's so wrong with me loving my freedom? At least I can be woman enough to acknowledge that, hey, I love my freedom too much, so I don't want to spend the rest of my life taking care of another human being. That's it. So what if I love my freedom? People say it as if it's an insult, as if it's a bad thing. It is not a bad thing, actually, and I do acknowledge it and I do agree with you. Child-free people, no, not all of them, but me, child-free people just love their freedom. And what is wrong with that? The next assumption that I get is that child-free people are selfish. And that's also what I've been told on several occasions, that I'm selfish. And I'm like, okay, so I'm selfish just because I've said that I do not want to have a child. Like, I've literally looked at my life, looked at my lifestyle, looked at my finances and decided, you know what, I'm good the way I am, I do not want to have kids. So would you rather me, who's done that, or someone who is irresponsible, knows they don't want kids, but they still go ahead and have the child and let the child suffer? Who's being selfish in these two situations, if you actually think about it? Child-free people are actually the most selfless people there are out there, because they've sat down with themselves and they've realized, I don't want to bring another human being into this world because I don't have the time, or maybe I don't have the money, or I will not love it the way it's supposed to be loved. So no, child-free people are not selfish. We've just chosen a lifestyle that suits us. And also the next question that comes is, what if your mom did not give birth to you? And I'm like, well, again, there's no correlation, because 31 years ago, my mom chose to have me. The key operating word here is she chose to have me. No child ever applies to be born. So for me, I'm truly 100% grateful to my parents for giving birth to me and for raising me, but that does not make me obliged to have a child. That's not how it works. You're not paying it forward. No one told them to give birth to you. They sat down as adults and they realized, hey, we love each other, let's have a child. And that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you saying that I'm selfish because my mom gave birth to me, apples and oranges, just apples and oranges. The next one is that child-free people don't know what they want. Well, I always answer this with one analogy. I'm like, when a 20-year-old has a child, everybody says, well, she's old enough, she was old enough to have sex, she's old enough to take care of the baby. But now a 31-year-old is saying, hey, I do not want a child, and all of a sudden I'm too young, I don't know what I want. The fact that I've already clearly stated that I don't want a child makes me too young. Like, oh, you're too young, you'll change your mind. Oh, you're too young, you don't know what you're saying. The next one is that being child-free is against the Bible, because apparently somewhere in Genesis, God says, go forth and fill the world. But in that same Bible, they also talked about people who choose not to get married. And choose to serve God. And that's why we have nuns and priests. So if it's against the Bible, then all nuns are wrong. Why are they not having kids? All priests are wrong. Why are they not becoming fathers? Okay, I understand the two levels of fathers here, but you understand what I mean. Why are they not becoming dads? So I don't think there's anything against the Bible. The fact that you choose not to have a child does not make you go against the Bible, whether you're Christian or not. The other thing that I hear a lot, I usually talk of, well, I'm not sure if I want to get married, but if I do, well and good. And I'm like, I'd also want to get married to a man who's child-free. And the question is then, why do you get married? I'm like, well, because I love the guy. Why do I have to get married just to have a child? I mean, people have child with no marriage. People get married and still don't have children. So I feel it's very unfair to say that someone should not get married simply because they don't want to have kids. Again, those two apples and oranges, they have no correlation. Two people can fall in love and just want to be with each other and not bring a child between them. The next one is, people usually think that this is an insult, but it's exactly one of the reasons why I don't want a child. They ask, how will it feel coming home to an empty house, a house that is just quiet and empty and nothing happening? And I'm like, amazing. That's how it would feel. It would feel totally amazing. I mean, that's what I look forward to even now with no kids. Like after having a hectic day, traffic jams, dealing with clients, just moving up and down, all I want is to come home to an empty house, a house that is quiet. I go in, I change, remove my bra, get into the shower, just stand there in the shower. If it was a bad day, I want to cry and I want to scream and I just want to relax and just have the water run down. And then when I'm done, I want to go to my fully stocked kitchen and get into my fridge and find my food, because guess what? Nobody ate my food. Nobody ate my food because there was no one in that house. Get my food, warm it, eat it, go sit in front of the TV, have some ice cream, and just watch TV as I fall asleep. That is perfect for me. Someone else is like, when someone asks how is it coming into a quiet house, I'm like, amazing. It's amazing coming to a quiet house with no one. That's amazing. So people think coming home, for some people, their way of relaxing is coming home to a house full of kids, a wife or a husband, and the nanny, and the housework, and the homework, and it's just not the life for me. Yes, I do want to come home to a quiet house with nothing. If people think that means that I'm lonely, well and good. That's your own assumption. But for me, that's the perfect life. I also mentioned that I don't want to have kids because I don't want to be pregnant. I don't want to take my body through the process of childbearing. I don't want to hurt my body in that way. And some people are saying, oh, it's because you're afraid. You're afraid of carrying a pregnancy and you're afraid of giving birth. You're afraid of the pain. You're a coward. And I'm like, am I a coward? Yes, I agree. I'm not going to fight over that. If that makes me a coward, then well and good. I am a coward. I'm a coward because I do not want to go through childbirth. It's as simple as that, you know. I've heard of the horror stories when it comes to childbirth. I have friends whose bodies have never bounced back. And it's not like they don't eat right, not that they don't exercise, it's just how their bodies are. And I look at it and I'm like, do I want to take my body through that? And the answer is no. And if that makes me a coward, then well and good. I am a coward because I refuse to have a human being come out of my vagina. If that makes me a coward, fine. I'm a coward. And the final one that really, really gets me, actually this kind of gets me annoyed. The rest I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. But this one kind of really gets me worked up, is when people ask, what legacy are you going to leave behind? And this question was actually asked in one of the Kenyan interviews. There was this presenter who was asking this child-free woman. She's like, aren't you afraid you're not going to leave behind a legacy? And I'm like, again, how do these two relate? So if I die right now with no kids, I leave no legacy. Look at Angela Merkel, look at Oprah Winfrey. These are women who are child-free. So God forbid, if Oprah died today, that means she wouldn't leave any legacy. No one will ever think of her ever again because she didn't have children. Is that the logic here? And also, how many people have died, people who have kids who've died and they've left behind nothing, no one even thinks about them. They left behind no legacy, even though they have children. So those two, against apples and oranges, they don't relate. The fact that you don't have a child does not mean that you will not leave behind a legacy. People leave legacies in so many other ways that you don't have to be a parent for you to have a legacy. And how many people have given birth to their kids and then they realize, wow, this was just such a waste of time. This child just turned out to be horrible. So what legacy did you leave? Thank you for watching this video. Let's have an open conversation in the comment section below. If you're child-free, I'd like to listen to your opinion on it. And if you're not child-free and you have a different opinion on it, also I'd like to know about it in the comment section. I make videos every Sunday and Thursday, and I would really love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and let's keep the conversation going. I will see you next week. Bye. The second assumption,